Immigration is a complex topic that involves different issues and can be explained through different lenses. In the present video, immigration will be presented through the lens of the culture. But first, we will start by defining the term, provide insights, relations, and implications for the culture that as English teachers we need to be aware of. According with Victoria Isis 2018 in her study Immigration, Migration and Culture, the term immigration refers specifically to international migration that is relatively permanent in nature. In that sense, it's important to differentiate acculturation from enculturation. The first one referencing to start learning a second culture because one is visit or living for a short period of time in the new culture. And the second, enculturation, referencing to the lifelong process in which one becomes socialized into the new culture, impacting perspective and interpretation of the world. There are different causes and reasons why people immigrate: economic conditions, employment opportunities, environmental disasters, internal or external conflicts, violence, and war. Mostly of immigrant people moves to urban areas which can result in unemployment, in insecure informal employment sector, and rights abuse, according with Castles 2013. Besides, we need to be aware of the different types of immigration based on the causes, the time, and the way it is made. One of the major debates in this field involves the transnationalism and citizenship. In the study of Erkam 2006, it is presented the huge problematic with reference to national citizenship in the immigration field. The national citizenship persists in the strive for mobility across limits and geographical limits, for equal protection under the laws, and for equal access to social and political rights. In this way, there are different discussions concerning how humans should be treated as equals within the liberal democratic citizenship and the reality in which many migrants and immigrants face discrimination. To give a real example of the implications of the immigration in the cultural field, I will present the case presented by Yuval Noah Harari in her 9th chapter, Immigration. She presents the case of the growing wave of refugees and immigrants wanting to stay in Europe while the native residents claiming that the new ones are betraying Europe's multicultural and tolerant ideals. So it is present the three basic conditions of immigration in this continent. Condition 1. The host country allows the immigrants in. This first condition should be understood as a duty or as a favor. The main problematic rests on how Europeans should treat the immigrants. For example, you cannot justify anti-Semitism in the USA today by arguing that we did your great-grandmother a favor by letting her into his country in 1910. So we can now treat you any way we like. So anti-immigrants should say that. There is a serious concern that comes with the first debate, and it's the immigration laws with the aim to manage the international disputes. There is a need to establish boundaries to what extent the immigration policies should be go. For instance, anti-immigrationists argue that a country can have whatever immigration policy, screening immigrants not just for their criminal records, but for things like religion. So there should be a major monitoring by the Court of Justice of the European Union and the competent entities. Condition 2. The second clause of the immigration deal says that if the immigrants are allowed in, they have an obligation to assimilate into the local culture. But how far should assimilation go? For example, if immigrants move from a patriarchal society to a liberal society, they become feminists, they should become feminists. I think that the right solution concerning this second debate is to start teaching empathy in society. This process would have avoided thousands of lives incurred in irrational wars, terrorism, and a huge list of cultural misunderstandings. According with Highness and Avery, empathy is the ability to recognize and understand another person's perceptions, feelings, conceptions, etc., and accurately convey an accepted response. Larry and Richard will help us to provide the 4 steps in order to accurately convey an accepted response and grow empathy. The first one is pay attention. You should focus on what other person is trying to communicate to you. The second is communicate empathy. You should learn how to communicate appropriately according with a specific communicative situation. The third step is engage in culturally accepted behaviors. You can learn to be sensitive to the values, to the customs, and the differences of the another person and the another culture. Step is learn to accept differences. You can be open-minded and learn to build those differences in a positive manner. The third debate states that if immigrants make a sincere effort to assimilate the host country, it is duty-bound to treat them as first-class citizens. Pro-immigrationists tend to demand a speedy acceptance, whereas anti-immigrationists want a much longer probation period. I think this issue should be discussed and monitored for the competent entity, taking into account both sides in order to establish a right amount of time to provide the national citizenship. The last debate linked the 3 debates. If the immigrants are not making a sincere effort to assimilate the local culture, the host family has no reason to treat them as first-class citizens and has every reason to reconsider allowing them in their country. To conclude, immigration is a large, complex, and broad concept, but within the lens of the culture, there should be updated regulations, supervision, control, and evaluation of immigration to provide appropriate conditions to both parties, native citizens and immigrants, in the globalized world we live in. Further, the intercultural component in class should be promoted to grow more empathic citizens and immigrants and prevent cultural misunderstanding, which could avoid thousands of deaths.